Welcome.
Howdy.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday. This is Dylan, another year older, and I got Lego for my birthday, thanks to the family very much. So we've got a new set to build. This is the Triwizard Tournament, The Arrival. So it's a two-part set. We've got a carriage, and we've got the Durmstrang ship. So I would show you the box, but unfortunately it's far too big. But I'm going to back it up and try and see what we can do here. So we've got, oh, upside down. There we go. Let's just switch scenes for a second here. Yeah, that'll have to do. Apologies for the reality, but this is the set. It's nice and big. And we can go back to Lego. So let's get this puppy started and roll right on into opening the box. I'm just trying to see if it's got any cool spots. No. Good. So pretty good. Handy dandy knife. Which end do I want to open? Let's open. So today we're going to start with the carriage, the Beauxbaton's carriage. See how we do on that for timings, because I don't think we'll get the whole thing done in one stream. If we do, shame on me. But I'm going to start with that. We've got at least 10 bags. A massive booklet, so it's always a good place to start. I just toss them down. Oh. That's probably the place to start, but we've got the wrong color brick thing. And we've got a cloth something, I think. I don't know what it is. The sails, I'm gonna bet. Put that off to the side. Alright, that should make it easier to find the first couple of bags. So let's take a look at what the instruction book looks like, and then we'll tuck it back. It's a nice hefty one. And we've got, yeah, we're going to start with the carriage, thankfully. That's the first section, so that works well. All told, ship included, we've got 248 pages of instruction steps. So I think we're going to go today at least up to, doesn't seem like much actually, so probably get the ship started then, because we've only got 31 pages of instruction steps. Although I do find it interesting, they're starting to build the ship with a character that is from the French combatants team arriving on the carriage, so that'll be interesting to see how that works, just in terms of how they balanced it out. We also will have some stickers in the set. Got a good number. So they look like most of them are for the carriage, but that's probably because we've got the great big sail for the ship. Set this book off to the side. In doing so, I nearly chucked Carl Brickhead off the table. That's not a good place to start. So I wanted to start with these. This is the first bag. Let's roll this one through. And of course, as usual, they give us the brick separator instructions. We know where that brick separator goes. So, good morning to all of you, Fantastic Show-Off Box and Mama Bear. Thank you ever so much for being here. Yeah, that sounds great. And if anyone chooses to drop by and lurk today, they are more than welcome to. So we know out with the orange and in with the teal. And looks like the first thing we're doing is having us build a Barty Crouch character. So we've got the legs, we've got the head, we've got the torso, and they just put his hat in the mini bag. Alright, so Barty Crouch being a fairly bald character, we only have one side of the head, so I'm just going to build him and then show it off. He's got a nice little bowler hat. And quite a mustache. Very, very French accent, which I find kind of interesting. For a character like Barty, which would be Bartholomew, he sounds oddly French. And yet his son does not. So I don't know where they were going with that one. But there is our fine Barty Crouch. Mr. Grumpy Ministry official. There, and we shall set him off to the side while we work. Let's put him down there. Yeah. You can trigger the focus back to where it should be. There we are. Alright, next up. Yeah, he's actually well done. I like the printing on the front of his jacket. So we've got a small Triwizard cup to begin. The flyer selection, I believe. Or maybe it's the trophy. Either way, it's small. So as the title on the video implies, or of the stream implies, I did get older yesterday. I turned 45. Yay! So most people would not be pleased by that, but hey, I made it through another trip around the sun. It's been an interesting year. And I'm pleased with it so far. So far, it's been short, but I've been pleased with it so far. So, let's see. Fantastic Show Fox is talking about the question of the day. Incoming ad break in about 2 minutes, just so you guys are aware. Question of the day is, if you opened a restaurant, what sort of food would you serve? Fantastic Show Fox says that he would serve some sort of spicy, flavorful food. Which would be interesting to see because, as he's well aware, he and I have different ideas of what flavorful is when it comes to spicy food. And he cooks some things that I find to be just heat without flavor. So I would be interested to visit his shop. That would be something different. I took the cup apart because there's something that goes on the bottom that I'm not... There it is. I was gonna say I had not spotted to add. I'm not even sure what that piece is. There we go. And that's the mounts, so we can put the snakes in. I find this kind of interesting that it's the Triwizard tournament. I mean, obviously, you know, no muggles as such, but I find it interesting because there's so much of a theme of snakes involved in the various parts of it, and through most of the series, snakes are almost exclusively, you know, they use them as a dark thing. So I mean, it is a little bit of foreshadowing, but it's also a reference to the Hogwarts founder Salazar Slytherin, and it seems to be everywhere. Which sort of says that if that's the case, and if there was a stronger influence from Slytherin, who is a anti-Muggle-born type of individual, and there's the cup. If we see the anti-Muggle-born individual being so heavily involved, then we could definitely say, even if she had wanted to, there is no way that the cup would ever have selected Hermione. All right. I did have a good day. Actually, we celebrated on Sunday, for the most part, because I had things to...
Ads are starting. Dylan will continue the conversation after the ads are over. Thank you for supporting the stream.
Timing. Anyhow, we celebrated on Sunday, so there'll be a bit more detail after the ads are finished. Had a great time, though. It was interesting. Bit of a surprise. Not a full surprise, but a bit of a surprise. And Fox, as you can tell, is kind of interested to hear me tell this story, or to have me tell this story. There we go. Ads are over. Alright, so... oh boy. The coloring on the monitor is great in most cases, but today it's a little bit playing havoc. Although I think I probably also need to clean my glasses. Normal. I should forget. Anyhow, we celebrated on Sunday, and although it wasn't officially a surprise, because Fantastic Sherlock Fox asked me which one I would like to try, we went and celebrated with a wizard-themed escape room. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the escape room process, okay, this is one of the more premium ones. So you guys may have seen, escape room in a box or whatever, or escape rooms where you go visit a location and they quite literally lock you in a room, and then you actually have to find out how to get out, like what the key is or what the solution is. It's a puzzle game. So we went and we tried a puzzle that the suggested group size is about 8 people, 8 to 10 basically. We took 5, 2 of which were the kids, myself and my mother-in-law, and Fantastic Sherlock Fox was the only one of all of us that had done one of these escape room things before, although the kids and I had done some like puzzle box type sort of things, and something in a physical 3D sense for the kids, actually for my son, not for my daughter, had been done at Scouts years ago, where we quite literally padlocked them inside a tent and they had to figure out their way out. But in that sense, it was fairly straightforward. So this one, the first one we had, this one here, smaller one, is the prize cup from the Triwizard, that's hence the 3 snakes. And this one is representing the name selection cup, where they all put in their names. Somehow Harry Potter's name got into it, and it got selected. Which is kind of interesting because there was age protection on there, and you would have thought that they would also have potentially had name protection on there, but I guess the wizards weren't quite that smart. And I say that because because it just makes sense. Like, why wouldn't you? Once one knows what the Triwizard tournament involves, yes, it's prestigious, but whatever happens to the other contestants, they actually get eliminated in some pretty rough ways. Whether you feel that Victor Crumb was cursed or not, the maze kind of ate the third task, basically, kind of ate Fleur Delacour a little bit. I mean, you do see her again and stuff, but it wasn't a great finish. So I could potentially see people wanting to throw either their friends or their school enemies under the bus, thinking that they would fail miserably. I mean, yes, it would make the whole school look bad, and there's a different thing, a different belief in school pride in Europe than compared to North America. North America, there are some that wouldn't care, and it was just want to throw the brat under the bus. But in Europe, they care more. It just still makes me kind of think that the Wizarding World should have covered off for that. So anyways, we had a whole lot of fun with the escape room. They lock your electronics particularly in a locker. I mean, you could take other things with you, although it's just easier to lock just about everything you've got in the locker, just because then your hands are free to work. And so we started in a room with a story where the location had us listen to a really brief piece of color audio, I guess. And and then from there, they said, okay, so we need, of our 5, we needed 3 volunteers to go in early. You're going to get locked in a room. What? Aren't we all going to? No, I mean, as in, like, separately from this sort of thing? Oh, okay. So I didn't know how involved that person would be initially, or those people. So I didn't volunteer for that part. Fantastic Sherlock Fox and my kids did, which was left to my mother-in-law and I. We're sitting there going, okay. And then we got a bit more color story before they sent us in. What they didn't tell us right off the bat. Okay, well, they implied it, but not clear enough for most of us to pick up on. Or at least her and I, key pieces in this case. What they didn't imply or tell us straight out front was that in order to get the very first part of the puzzle done correctly within your time limit, so you only have an hour. Quite literally, there's a clock running. You don't see it in the room, but there's a character that, using the wizarding theme, it's a constant video on the wall, and every so often it does some sort of thing that lets you know the time is passing. Okay, so this one goes on that side. So we didn't know about that, and we wasted far too much time at the beginning not knowing that we were supposed to be helping the people from inside and the other locked room in our room to get out. That was sort of the first piece. So there was that, and then we had a little bit of a disagreement. Not a fight or something silly like that, but a little bit of disagreement / misunderstanding about that. So when I finally caught the message from Fantastic Sherlock Fox and the kids, hey, no, first thing you're supposed to be doing is helping us out. And it didn't sound selfish, but I didn't get it for a second. So I clued in. I was like, oh, hold on, to my mother-in-law. And unfortunately, she's like, shh, no, wait a minute, I'm working on this. And I said, but it's not time for that. And she wasn't even listening at that point, like quite literally shut down. So we had to get her attention. Say, yeah, you're struggling with that piece, that lock, because you don't have all the parts yet. We're not ready for that one yet. So it took a bit. And there were a couple other spots like that where we had a bit of a disagreement on that type of front, but most of it worked out fairly well. We went overtime, so they let us complete, partly because I think they figured it was my birthday, and more importantly, that we were the smaller group. We did need probably more hints than I was, overall interested in. That said, I think I also might do things differently in terms of how our hint system or assistance radio was handled. Because there were a couple of times where we actually could successfully split into 2 different groups in 2 different directions. And when that happened, Fantastic Sherlock Fox had split into one direction, I'd split into another. And even though it was successful in terms of we could do that, because the puzzle did have 2 pieces, that it didn't really matter which part we did first. We had some miscomms, so I was saying, hey, I need this piece of information, specifically. I had to ask a question, and they're like, no, we're working on this other puzzle right now. And it was just simply going, okay, that's fine, but whatever. So I would do it again. I really enjoyed it. It's not, even though it's ostensibly Harry Potter themed, it's not actually Harry Potter themed. Partially, I assume, for copyright reasons, and partially because their plan is to make the room as accessible to everybody who comes in, so that you don't, or as they can, so that you don't have to know anything about the books, the movies, the world, in order to be able to successfully complete. So, as I said, we completed, we went over our hour, and we went over our hour, and we needed too many hints. So, at some future point, I would like to go and do another one. I mean, I would even redo this one, but I don't know how replayable a specific story is. I mean, I guess one could consider it a timed run, maybe? As in, it's timed, but it's a timed run in terms of trying to, like people, repeatedly attempt to speedrun Minecraft and get faster and faster. Thing is, that's kind of expensive for that. You probably want to you probably want to do a different story. So they had 3 levels. This was easy to medium, and there's a medium, sort of one that's almost solidly medium in the way they described it on the website, and then there's one that they described as extremely hard. Theming wise, they all refer to the Dark Lord, so you don't really actually get a lot of specifics. I mean, there are things that look vaguely like the characters you would expect from the movies and so forth, but nothing direct. That's a rough switch. Anyway, as I said, I had a whole lot of fun. At the end, Fantastic Sherlock Fox ordered me a fun little drink from their mixologist, and it was a bubble. Well, not a bubble. Basically, it was just a fruit punch, like a hand-mixed fruit punch. So when you make a party punch at Christmas or whatever, or family does Christmas, New Year's sort of thing, it's one of those type of punches, so you can definitely taste the cranberry, you can definitely taste the orange, and so forth. But then on top of that, they use a little, I don't know what they called it, but they put a bubble on top that has smoke inside. And then does it give flavor? In some cases you can do that. It gives atmosphere. This one was an unflavored, unscented as far as I could tell, smoke, but the idea was then they gave this funny little wand, and it was like a gold toy Harry Potter wand that in the front end they had just made sure that it was a little plastic tip was easy to wash, and the idea was I'm supposed to pretend cast a spell. It makes a cool little noise, like it does like a chime sort of thing, like the turn the page sound you used to get on audiobooks as a kid. And I had to pop the bubble that was on top of the drink, and then it released all the smoke all over the place. It was kind of cool. So that was a lot of silliness but fun. And they called the drink the Leviosa. So I thought that was amusing too, because I wasn't going to go into, bad Hermione quotes or anything like that, but it was silly, and I enjoyed it. Fantastic Sherlock Fox has done this escape room location, like a company, with his office as a team building exercise. Apparently their boss, their manager, whatever, the partner, he's fairly well heeled, so these sorts of things, even though they're expensive, he does them with his wife on a weekend for fun. And so he's been through a number of them, but like the boss, not my husband, sorry. The boss has been through a number of them, and still, doing it with a different group of people, you learn something new. You learn something different, because Fantastic Sherlock Fox was able to teach him a bit about the room just in the way that they think. The example I'm thinking of is when Fantastic Sherlock Fox tells us a story where they did one that was, dinosaur themed, supposedly, but it's based off of, like, Jurassic Park. And at one point, there was a spot where they needed to find a secret key. And the key turned out to be hidden in a canister. But in order to find it, they said, yeah, did you look in the fridge? Was the clue from the helping team. And they're trying to say, well, what was in the fridge? Or, because what they'd actually done was they had gone around and they scooped up a lot of the clues and then brought them to the central table to work on, okay, here's all the pieces we've got, how do these fit? And what they should have done is left things, as much as possible, where they found them until they had certainly used a particular clue up, so to speak. But so what this boss hadn't really thought about was, because he was the one who was saying, hey, let's bring it all to the table and work on it that way. Is when look in the fridge. Well, they didn't remember necessarily what had come from where on the table until it started being poked about. Yeah, there's nothing in there. I looked in the fridge. There's nothing there. Well, what was in the fridge? So they said, oh, well, this shaving cream canister. Okay. In my mind, alarm bells, partly because, first off, you don't refrigerate shaving cream. I've never seen one that you do that with. And the second piece of that is, if once you discover that the weird one out, why would that be significant? Well, it's actually one of those prop pieces that you can buy fairly easily for hiding, your household secrets. And so you unscrew the bottom of the shaving cream canister, and there's a key in the bottom. So that was one of the pieces. But the boss hadn't thought about leaving things where you found them, so that when you get a clue that's pointing you towards look in the fridge, you can see, oh, well, here's the things in the fridge, because they hadn't previously scooped them out, but well, elsewhere. So it wasn't about the fridge itself, it was about the stuff that had been sitting in the fridge. So when we did our escape room, I was a lot more careful per per Fantastic Sherlock Fox's instructions to not move things if I didn't need to. And I got thrown a couple of times, badly. One was, we had a puzzle that involved a torch, that it wasn't a real torch, but it triggered something. And the torch itself had been used for other teams, and enough that it had some glue on it. And I mistakenly thought the glue was supposed to attach a piece that turns out wasn't actually even in the room. So I got confused by that, because then we ended up needing the thing that I thought was sitting on top of the torch. Well, no, that thing actually was a separate piece. And so I just didn't understand that part, so that threw me a little bit. We had a bit of a foo-for-ah over Morse code, because somebody thought they knew Morse code far better than they did. I was saying, oh, it's this letter, or this, and there were some disagreements over what was long and what was short, so it took us a little longer to figure out that clue than necessary, but, it was good. And actually, there were a couple accidental jump scares for my daughter. And I say accidental because one was, she just happened to be standing in the wrong place when a secret wall cabinet popped open right next to her. And so I probably would have jumped too. It's right beside you. You don't expect the wall to pop open. So that got her. And then some flashing lights at the end. Flashing lights at the end were a bit of a challenge for her, just because she was hanging on to one piece and putting it into a slot or a spot for it that was not magnetic to hold on to the thing. So thankfully the thing was made out of plastic. But when the strobe lights and crashing noise happened, it made her jump and she dropped the thing. And then she felt bad that she dropped it even though nothing happened to it. And that's just part of her being a little bit like me. I mean, I don't know if I would have got as wound up and upset about it, but the overwhelmed feeling from the brief scare is not her cup of tea. But that's Barty Crouch's wand. I'll move that out. That's a spare for the cups. Okay, that's good. I know where the gold came from, the bottom of this. Okay, good. I always like to double check that the pieces make sense to only have one of each, that I haven't left them extra elsewhere. Let's grab bag 2. There. Yeah, that's true. The rolling fast. So Fantastic Sherlock Fox was correct. The long short challenge was a little iffy. I think it would be nice if we had I know why they did it the way they did it, but it would be nice if they had a replay button on that one, so once you figure out what's going on as your clue, that you can easily hit replay. One of the challenges, unfortunately, was the torch was in a sconce in the wall, that was pretty high, because I thought that the other, we had basically, it was a skull thing that we had. I thought the skull sat on top of the torch, but even with just the torch handle itself, I wasn't quite tall enough to get it in the wall sconce easily. I could, if I had to, I could do it.
Hello.
But I wasn't quite tall enough, which makes, repeating that piece not as simple as it could have been. So I had to get Fantastic Shock Box to hold things up. Hey Bob, how are you doing? Welcome in for another day. Have a great day. So yeah, just discussing building some Lego, the Bobatton's carriage, and talking a little bit about the escape room that we went to celebrate my birthday. So it was all good. Yeah, I would really redo that, but yeah, the long short challenge was iffy, and there were definitely, like, the room is designed to amp the tension for sure, and my daughter and I are very susceptible to tension raises. We do feel it quite significantly, so I can kind of see where she went to, but I mean, even so, I don't know if I would have jumped quite as badly as she did at the end, but yeah, that one probably would have got me. I don't know. And I might have jumped a little bit when a shelf opened up, but it's the sort of thing that I've seen, being older, I've seen enough movies and TV shows and stuff where that is your scare, per se, or one of the pieces, so I kind of expected, okay, yeah, we got this weird shelf, it's got a really strange edge to it, so it looks recessed, and the recess, they actually had made it the same color as the wall, which to me is a bit of a giveaway. Not badly so, but I mean, if you're going to do recessed shelving in a house, often they have trim around the edge that either matches your baseboard or matches the shelf. Or matches, well, actually, I don't think we've seen the ones that match the wall, usually. But, so by having that be all the same color, more or less, then I felt, okay, yeah, at some point this thing has to move. They also had abnormally large portraits on the wall for today's taste. You might see them large like that in a mansion, but frankly, Wizarding World or no, big pictures seems to me rather ridiculous use of space. And if they move and are somewhat sentient in the Wizarding World, I certainly wouldn't want big ones in the house, because it makes it far easier for them to be nosy about what we're up to. So, yeah. Those pictures, as you can imagine, ended up being on hinges, and at some point in the story they swung forward. One of the things that I find really difficult about these, interesting and difficult as a bit of a red herring about some of these puzzles, is certain items, certain parts of the puzzle, we solved too early. And then something in my headset was saying, oh yeah, I've already dealt with that. So I sort of forgot about it. And that was a bit of a delay as well before I would clue in, or we would clue in as a team. Oh yeah, we need to go back to that thing we just did. There it is. That thing, and do it again. And then there's other pieces that I'd seen a clue, but I'd only seen some of the clues to the solution of the particular puzzle we were working on. And since those particular pieces of the clues didn't fit, then I assumed I had seen them all, which was a bit of a mistake. So we had some stuff written on a wall, hidden behind some curtains, and 2 out of the 3 curtains we were looking behind had one thing written behind the wall, or behind them, and the third one had multiple, but they weren't, the third curtain wasn't all of the pieces for that solution, so I just thought, okay, well, I'd seen the ones in the other 2, they didn't apply. And, well, yeah, they did apply, I just misunderstood how they applied. But I'd also went, oh, I saw that one, it wasn't relevant, and I forgot about it. Okay, so we've got the trunk, the Bobatton students. For some reason they need to have cups, I'm not sure what that's all about. Oh. Windows! Yay! So it's, I would definitely recommend it. If you guys have the time, and they have that sort of thing in your area, definitely do check it out. It makes a great team building adventure, whether it be with family or an office party, or even just a bunch of friends, just because. They're really a blast. Thank you for doing the shout out for Bob. I'm glad we got that one. Bob's amazing, always awesome, and it's funny. Wolfen's said it enough times now that I can't help thinking about the shop at Bob's, shop at Bob's, shop at Bob's. That's how she tries to get Bob live online when she's ready to raid out. So remember, everybody, shop at Bob's. I think it might throw the system a little bit, though, if one season Bob decided, this season I'm just not in the mood to make a shop. Then what? Then what do we do? Fish with Bob? There we go. Yeah, fish with Bob. Bob loves to go fishing in Minecraft. Speaking of Minecraft and Bob, there is a stream weekend coming up this weekend. So for those of you that have not already done so, please mark your calendars. We run it usually in Eastern Standard Time because that is Dadcraft's home time zone. And we will start I believe we start approximately 7 a.m. Eastern on the Saturday morning. And it goes through 1 a.m., I guess, on this Monday morning, technically. If I do the math right. So I will be taking part this weekend. I did not manage the last few, partly because I was out at scout camp, and normally I'm burnt at scout camp. I mean, I've been able to pull off one or two. There's been some where I haven't been able to make it because it's not always scout camp. There's often something. I've missed a few, and this time I mentioned as such, saying, yep, well, unfortunately, the slots available don't work for me because I'm not getting back into town in time to be reliable. And Dadcraft himself said, well, why don't you close up the shop and take the slot I usually have? I was like, okay. No pressure. Oh, see? Too much pressure breaks things. And actually, truth is, it's just that I just would set high standards for myself. But I've known already for over a month what my project was going to be. So we'll get a start on that this week so that we can do the more exciting bit of it over the weekend. Ooh, yes you do. Fantastic Sherlock Fox has agreed to fill a slot. And so Mama Bear, if you could kindly shout out the Fox, that would be very much appreciated. He has not yet made affiliate, so I'm not sure what flavor elements he'll have to his stream. I don't yet know whether he's going to be doing Lego or Minecraft yet. I'm going to guess, or I'm going to hazard a guess and say probably some Lego. But if he does, that would be the lovely larger set, the A-frame cabin. Certainly a very good one to take a look at. And Fox is a very interesting person. I know I married him, so I'm biased, but Fox is a very interesting person to listen to. I've been told that by many other people. Not just family. And so it's definitely worth hanging out and coming to see what he chooses to do. Get ready to laugh. That'll be interesting. I will have to catch the VOD on that one for sure, because I'll be out at camp. It's too bad. So we're going to a camp not too far from the house, and they have relatively decent cell reception, but not great, so I may be able to pop in the evening, we'll see. Our older scouts are more self-sufficient, so I might be able to catch a little bit of the tail end of Saturday. Mostly lurking, though. On Sunday is, of course, cleanup day, and then when we get home, I might be able to lurk a little bit while driving, but we'll have to see. I'm not entirely sure. So that'll be a little bit too bad because I won't have as many things to reference from previous sections of the stream when I chitter-chatter, but that's okay, you know? Cold opens are not exactly my specialty, but something I'm familiar with. Ooh, A-frame or the first botanical garden. So they've got a massive botanical garden, and as far as I know, we don't own it in our house yet. But the smaller set definitely looks pretty cool. Oh, A-frame or the Botanical Garden. Okay, so it'll probably be, pardon me, it'll probably be Lego then. But that's awesome. 1, 2, and then I need more on the top. Okay, that I can do. And the Dadcraft 73 community is doing a Secret Santa gift exchange, like a real world one, not just in game. Apparently that is coming in the Minecraft game for us. We have some people organizing such, but in the real, what are you sticking to? While I like that they're showing us these things, it's like, what is it sticking to? Oh, there it is. Okay. I was trying to figure it out. We've got one stud on the bottom, so that means I have to be careful how much pressure I add, because otherwise it'll just pop right off. You know, as most of the stuff I press too hard does. There, that one stays for now. Where are we here? This one. Rinse and repeat. Interesting, this is, can you pronounce it? ITEYBC by an artist called Cospe? COSPE, anyway. Which is neat, but it reminds me an awful lot of another artist you guys may be more familiar with, called Enigma. And so I think they're doing a great job with that, but it's just very different. One on the top, if I actually do it the way the picture says, and then one on the side, and then connect it in. So yeah, definitely mark your calendars for that this weekend. It makes some great background listening, even if you're not able to verbally participate. Textually. Typing? Yeah, there we go. Typing. Words. They're a thing. Okay, so we're doing the second set of these, but they go the opposite direction. We can clip torches into it, I'm assuming. Be careful about assumptions, because they make a donkey out of you and me. And the thing is that joke really doesn't work anywhere outside North America. That's in Bob would pronounce the word differently, so the joke doesn't work as well across the pond. Not unless you're an incredibly bad speller of the word assume. Wow, that went weird and deep. It's kind of like the song is kind of tinkly, almost like Christmas bells in the background, sort of Glockenspiel-esque, and yet it's got the heavier beats. Pretty different. Not bad, just different. It's actually called Miami Underground, which frankly I can't quite see how that would feel Miami, but sure. I'll go with it. Gotta go that way. It's kind of interesting. In order to make the difference, or point out the difference between the two sides of the build, what LEGO has done is actually have you build some of them quote-unquote face up and some of them face down, which that gets the point across, but still it's different, right? The first ones we built it with the curved section pointing up, and then we had the clip going up one side, and then so that they would, yeah, and then this side they tell us to build it as it's upside face down. Oh yes, for sure, it is, but the idea of taking the word assume and quite literally drawing a couple of lines through it so that you see that. Weirdly enough, I learned that in my driving and instructing course. I'd never heard that joke before, but to assume things was to make a donkey out of you and me, and then she just like went and drew the lines through it. Hey Minx, how are you doing? Good to see you. Welcome in, welcome in. Sticker time! You arrived just in time for stickers! Okay. So we've got a couple of doors to the carriage that both need a sticker. And we've got windows that go on the top. I'll put the windows in after I do the stickers because that way I don't have to worry as much about my fingerprints all over said stickers. This is going to be the Bow Button logo. And I'm just about guaranteed to get it crooked, so we're just going to do our best. Because it's all guesstimation, right? On height and centering and distance and whatever. That will do nicely. All right, there's one down. So how's Minx Nevada doing today? Did you have a good weekend? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Nobody wants to get auto-modded, so Minx is not repeating. That's hilarious. Love it. Very good taste. Oh, now I want to match. That stinks. Okay, let's do it this way. This is another reason why I didn't put the windows in. I can hold it. My finger in the way. Maybe. More or less. Looks to me crooked, but I'm gonna go with it nonetheless. Close enough, I'm not gonna worry about it long term. Sarcasm and exasperation, all in one. But it's delightful exasperation. That's a new one. Getting stuff done is highly underrated. I think. Mostly. I mean, there's a lot of pressure in the world to get stuff done. And I'm one of those ones who's very, very acquainted with not getting stuff done. But it's definitely something that needs to be more often. Okay, let's put the carriage doors in. They just sit for now. Eco has rolled. We're talking about Disney Miscellaneous. 2 titles in which a newspaper appears. Ooh. Well. One is related to Fantastic Sherlock Fox. I can say that. And there are plenty of others. Actually, maybe plenty might not be the word. Now that I say that, I'm not sure anymore. But it's in thinking about that, it's another one of those ones where now I've got an earworm in my head. Because I was wondering in my head, did Mary Poppins have a newspaper appear for Mr. Banks? I'm pretty sure the answer is no. That doesn't stop me from thinking about it. And now I have, oh, what does it call it? The song. It's basically Mr. Banks is singing about the timings and when he gets home from work. Yeah. His slippers, his drink, and his pipe are due at 6:02. And so forth. Alright, so we've got, yeah, one was that newspaper there. There might be one in 101 Dalmatians. Trying to figure whether or not they actually put a posting in to say the puppies are missing or not. But yeah, I'm fairly certain there's a newspaper in The Great Mouse Detective. So Minx, I don't know if you were lurking earlier or not, but I think you might appreciate what we did for this weekend, and a few others would, in that on Sunday we went to a wizard-themed escape room. So that was fun. That was the fun we had to celebrate the birthday. Then we went out for dinner afterwards at an amazing barbecue place. Oh, yeah, I think it was Great Mouse Detective. But yeah, we had a blast. So I learned a lot. I would definitely do them again. Being a newbie, I probably would have banged my head on things a little more. One of the things that was a bit stressful, as necessary, was that, of course, we had a timer running. So it's a timed event, and that kicked my patience a good bit, and I think it did with some of the other people in the group as well. So we just had my family and my mother-in-law. The full pit, yes. That quite literally, that's what the barbecue place calls it. So you have the full pit, then they have the fuller pit, and then if you really want to go nuts, they have a platter that they call too much barbecue. So while the barbecue place we went has called Prairie Dog Brewing Company. It's just a local one. It's not a chain. They're quite literally, it's their own brewery as well. And they have one of the largest smokers in North America inside. They actually, I can't remember what they call it. It's like Big Red or Clifford or something like that. And so they have things. I mean, you can do a lot of these for takeout. So you could order the full pit and then take it home if you really wanted to. But you know, it's fun to eat there. The atmosphere is big open space, really. It's actually quite a warehouse type of spot. Very, very good. Brisket and I think it's pulled pork shoulder, some ribs. There was chicken on, I mean, some of these were added to it, like just to double the numbers, but there's some chicken on there, some really good chorizo sausage. And then they have quite a number of sauces. And of course it comes with a side of fries and a bunch of other sides you can choose. Clifford the Big Red Smoker. Yep. Yeah, the timer can be stressy. Now, they did give us a few extra minutes. I would assume 15-ish ballpark. I think Fox said 10, but I don't know whether or not he's being nice. And I mean, we completed. We used an awful lot of hints, but we completed. So, yay. I really enjoyed it. It sounds like I wasn't impressed, but no, I really did enjoy it. It's just, for conversation purposes, I wanted to remember that we could do better on the timing, now that we know the system. And there are questions that we probably could ask conversationally at the beginning that we didn't, because we didn't know to. The only person who had done one before was Fantastic Sherlock Fox, so when they split us up into two mini groups initially, I thought, okay, well, it'll be two groups. We'll start out separately, and then at some point the answers will merge. Yeah, well, they merged all right the very second you walked in the door. So that's the other piece I got blown by, is just I'm not mentally ready to take on these challenges and whatnot the second I walk through a door. Like, quite literally, they said, yep, great, so feel free to head on in. It's not that you will head on in, then we'll start the timer. No. Feel free to head on in. Your timer has started. Which is basically your timer starts now. So I didn't even finish really sort of parsing the sentence before the timer was running, and that was a bit of a stress moment because the person standing next to me flashed into action, which is great, but we didn't even necessarily figure out, what are we trying to do first? We had some sort of pre-discussion based on experience Fantastic Sherlock Fox had, but for the most part, it was what are we doing? And I am going to go and leave pieces out if I don't pay attention. So, yeah, I would definitely do it again. I would definitely say give it a try. By comparison, I'm kind of curious what the non-premium rooms are like. I assume they're not quite as involved and more like locks and boxes and stuff. But this one actually had some multimedia elements to it, so there were tips coming from a portrait on the wall. Not really tips, sorry. Useful information coming from a portrait on the wall. And then, which it dawned on me actually just now, that the portrait on the wall stopped giving that particular useful piece of information after a particular point in time. Which means that if you hadn't passed that guy's challenge by that point, you were already way deep in the weeds and weren't going to successfully complete. So they might as well just not keep giving you that piece of info. No, you're right. And one of the things Fantastic Sherlock Fox implied was that doing it with management can also be a challenge, because when you're working with management, I suspect it has to do with too many cooks, too many cooks in the broth, and everybody wants to stir, and that's not a great way to handle these sorts of things. In a way, it's like everybody wants to manage, and that's not what they're there for. But on the other hand, we didn't have a whole lot more just gophers. I mean, even my son was ordering people around at one point. It's like, whoa, we need this piece of information. and mostly we would try to listen. There were some odd situations where he wasn't successful in getting his grandmother's attention, and so Fantastic Show Clocks had to step in and repeat what my son had asked for before she would actually clue in. So yeah, we had some learning to do if we were to do it with the same family. I would love to try one again with my mother, just to see what the two women would like differently. But she's, my mother's very, of late, pretty wound up over my dad slowly getting weirder and possibly mentally deteriorating slowly. I mean, that's bad news, but on the other hand, related to the game and the story, the whatever, that it's not as bad as it could be, and I think she probably could have used a night out. But that's okay. I'm sure that the conversation will, in the next week or a couple weeks, will drift toward the escape room as my mother-in-law and the kids potentially gush about how much they enjoyed themselves, which will make my mother feel like she missed out on something. But hey, she had the chance and said no, she couldn't make it because she and my dad were on a cruise. So yeah, cruise, escape room, I'd be hard-pressed to say no to a cruise just to take part in an escape room, particularly if the cruise has been planned and paid for months. But I mean, it was a semi-big year number. I hit one of those even fives this year, so it was, I would say, worth doing something interesting. And I also don't blame my mother for doing a cruise, because it's her birthday at the end of the month, and she's turning the big 7-0, so we're celebrating that too. Type A people. Felt like a little work. Yeah, I'd say sometimes it's easier in smaller groups. When they split us up at the beginning, this is one where they say, you haven't seen a few of your party since they, not your party, but like as in you've had a few friends go ahead and they disappeared and never returned. What didn't clue into me was that was related to the story. Like, I still thought that was flavor text outside the story. No, that was not flavor text outside the story. That was important enough to the story that I didn't clue in when we walked into the room that the members of our party that had been asked to go in ahead were waiting for us there to reunite them with the party, so to speak. So I didn't know that was what we were supposed to do first. And so I went in with a bit of a divide and conquer attitude. Two little mini teams, and then we'd meet, and then we'd sort of fit the stuff together. But the game was designed in a way that you needed the whole party all at once, which, frankly, given the personalities, I kind of wish that it had been the other way around. But well. On the other hand, we've talked about it sometimes. People you don't grow up with and you're not like, whether it be family or coworkers or anything else. Sometimes you don't want to be in a room with them for an extended party or an extended period of time. All right, so we've got wheels on the carriage. Woohoo! That's not the end of her, thankfully. So we get to do the horse on the front. This one, we've got a couple little pieces. Oh, I see what they're doing. They're adding the carriage attachment first. Can't blame them. For New Geek Out, how about leaving Las Vegas in Ocean's 11? Question was 6 films that take place in Las Vegas. 6. Ooh. That's a good one. Yeah. I mean, my immediate family I would love to do that with. And actually the nice part about that is I enjoy those types of puzzles enough that I think I've got at least one of them willing to bite once in a while. It's not always, but once in a while. So, those types of puzzles, if I want to do them from a box or a book or something like that, I can maybe spend a bit of an afternoon saying, hey, why don't we do some brain teaser puzzle questions? I can probably get them to agree now, whereas I couldn't before. So there might be possibility there. I'm not expecting the kids to like everything I like, but it would be nice to be able to do stuff like that with them once in a while. Wings. Sorry. The song title is called Kilrude, and the artist is Kilrude, and the song title is called Rest My Case. That's odd. Exactly. Yes, escape room in a box, and my mom noped out in 5 minutes. Precisely. Now, I don't remember what the name is, but there is quite a nice series of escape room type puzzles available in box sets that we've done them with our scout group. So my son has had an experience with this before through the scout group, like the boxed ones. So those types of puzzles are great. And then, of course, as part of COVID, we had online sessions through Zoom with the scouting group. And so we did one that someone had come up with where it was pictures of the parts of rooms you would need. But the puzzles were basically notion being you got trapped in your scout hall and then had to figure out how to get yourself out of the scout hall. So they're showing here that if I take the flying horse thing off and I pull off the top wing section, I can swap it for a flat tile for the back of the horse. I'm not sure why that's important. I'm actually going to put that in the spare tiles box because hey, save. It does not want to, so I've done something wrong, or it doesn't stand very well. Yeah, it's wanting to rear up, even if I rearrange the feet. Bend it more. Yeah, it doesn't want to stay flat, so I'll have to take a look and see what I did incorrectly, because it should be willing to go flat. At least it looks like it. I could be wrong. It's a flying carriage, go figure. Alright, so that's that one. I'm going to set this over... There. Build space? No. It's a little bit big, so I will have to set that off screen and then bring it back. There we go. Stop falling over a horse. That's going to bug me now. That whole horse back end business. Pegasus flying? Yeah. Winged horses biz? Because the horse won't stay standing. Okay, so clear these. Next bag. We'll get a start on the ship. We won't get it finished today, but we'll definitely get a start on it. 2, 10, 4. A lot of noisy on the floor. There's 10 bags in total. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, let's get the large bags out of the way. Then I can talk without everything getting cut off as it gets rid of the rattles. My mother's definitely a detail-oriented person. One of the things that I grew up on doing, it's a long story short, we had, my dad was a magician, on top of everything else he did. And so as part of that, he would have magic shows at Christmas or in late spring for company barbecues and such. So there was plenty of time killing going on. And my mother would be the chauffeur. My brother and I would come along for the ride. Half the time he'd be doing his own thing, reading a book or sleeping. My brother could make himself doze off anywhere. I mean, I can too, but not on command. Whereas he could do it on purpose. Okay. So this is Flora's head. We've got a sort of tight-lipped thing. Or on the back side, she's got a rather dismayed look. So this character, not only is she the star of the show from the French Beauxbaton School of Magic, she also features, as far as the set goes, or storyline set goes, in the Triwizard tournament. Would probably be reasonable in the Black Lake set, but they did not include her, which is a little disconcerting because they didn't actually add a whole lot for female minifigs in that one. Yeah. I think that was a time pressure thing, Fox, or even I would have stepped in there and said, put the radio down. So, yeah. And it was also a bit of a forgetful thing in terms of, have we dealt with that particular clue piece already? And me thinking that I had when I hadn't really. Okay, so anyway, my mother and I grew up I grew up in that with my mother, so a lot of time killing and stuff. We would buy the Dell Logic Puzzles magazines, and she and I used to also have to take the train together to go to school and work and stuff like that. So we'd be doing the logic puzzles while we waited for the bus, waited for the train, and so forth. And so I grew up on a lot of that sort of detail stuff, missing the fine points would make it so you can't complete those puzzles. A lot of the Where's Waldo type things, and so forth. So the more modern interest in puzzled escape rooms are pretty normal, I guess, for me. Like, it sort of seems a logical follow-on. Also enjoy mystery movies, and the sillier ones, such as like The Ghost of Mr. Chicken with Don Knotts. While it being, silly ghost Halloween themed, there are still little puzzles and mechanics and things that we've always had fun with, so this just makes sense. Yeah. So after that, we did the barbecue pit, which was a blast. There was a lot of food and a lot of noise, but it was not just a would go again. We've been multiple times. Like, weirdly enough, we'd been the week before and sort of scoped out the menu and made sure that our kids were still on board with the type of food there. Only thing we discovered was that my daughter feels they need more vegetables, but that's just because we make a pretty big deal in our house of making sure they have, basically, not just in our house, but scouting too, making sure they have, a starch, a protein, and something veggie or fruit to go with just about every meal. And so they get to the point where my daughter at least wants that. So that means that going to a barbecue place, it's heavy on the proteins, not so much on anything else. Yeah, I've never seen Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm going to take Streamer's Prerogative and roll that one. New one is Female Sci-Fi Authors. Mm-hmm. Okay, Fox, that's in your court. Female science fiction authors. I know one, and that's about it. So, yeah, and although I didn't have, I ate till I felt too full, too much food, to quote familiar people from our community. But, what am I doing here? Oh, okay. But I did not, in the end, end up with what some people stereotypically call the meat sweats, which is nice. But that can feel pretty rough. On the other hand, poor Fantastic Sherlock Fox, who is actually a little sensitive. He likes heat, likes spices, likes hot foods, but he's a little sensitive to the chemical, the capsaicin in the spice. Poor guy. We did definitely order some hot sauces to go with our barbecue on purpose, but one of them walloped him a pretty good one. And the flavor is fine. He doesn't bother too much by that. But we had to make sure we passed napkins because, yeah, the poor guy got a little bit sweaty. I felt bad for him. Ads. Boo. And oh, we both rolled it. Okay. That's fine. 2 films that take place in ancient Greece. I'll take that. Sure, why not? And oh, that's why I can't find a second one, because I'm building things wrong. I'll go with most of those. I wouldn't. Yeah, I guess McCaffrey would be a sci-fi author. I kind of class her more as modern fantasy, but that's just me. Okay, we had... Mixed and I went down a rabbit hole a few months ago and found a Korean reality show that's puzzle heavy. The Devil's Plan. Ooh. Yeah, that does sound like my kind of thing. That does sound like my kind of thing. I mean, one could argue it's not an escape room per se or super puzzle heavy as such, but maybe one could argue that my interest in Sherlock Holmes probably plays in here as well. A little bit. I mean, I'm sure there's probably somewhere in the city an escape room-esque thing themed on that too, but I don't think it'd be quite as obvious and far too tempting for them to go into the Sesame Street Sherlock Hemlock style, in which case that would just not be nearly as fun. Reality show. Yeah, that's the thing. Reality shows aren't usually my bag, but puzzle style might be interesting. We used to watch some of the reality shows around things like Hell's Kitchen and stuff like that, but some of the people on there, and I don't just mean the contestants, were a little more than I can handle long term. I had not been heavily exposed to the wonder of language that is Gordon Ramsay. As a celebrity chef, I can do without it. There we go. That's good to hear. Yeah, the Asian game shows, while being weird on one front, like they're not all strange, but while being weird on one front, there's definitely a very different cultural patience level for the amount of shenanigans.
Ads are starting. Dylan will continue the conversation after the ads are over. Thank you for supporting the stream.
The shenanigans and the reality show-esque elements that North American reality shows tend to have. Ours are often more about the personalities. I mean, if you think about Survivor back in the day, that reality show is really, while they threw challenges at people and generally, tried to watch out for safety and physical safety and things like that, it's kind of the early ones were a bit more of a what-if exploration of humans being stuck in the Lord of the Flies scenario. Or the Robinson Crusoe, or Swiss Family Robinson, or, like there's an or ad nauseum. And it's kind of the, what would you do? And the person who doesn't, make the cut is out. And I mean, there's something to be said for elimination games like that, and that's great. But I'm not usually a huge fan of the cat fighting and stuff that gets in some of the more recent reality shows. So one that is not that way, or at least not heavily that way, sounds like a refreshing place to try looking for entertainment. 1, 2. The thing I find interesting about this particular build for the ship is that a lot of this is probably functional and or interior detail, but I wonder how much you're actually ever going to see it. That's the thing about a lot of LEGO builds, like Minecraft. One needs to decide what your focus is going to be in terms of, are we going to focus on building the exteriors and make them look bang up awesome, and just realize that in order to do that, the infrastructure on the inside could be less than what you originally desired? Or do we work hard on making it look good on the outside, but also be functional enough on the inside that one can decorate up for interior detail? And LEGO, much more than Minecraft, is one where you don't see, or you don't necessarily get the full picture unless you've built almost all of it. Like, it doesn't come together. Here's the shell, here's the interior. Partly because it's just fiddly to build the interior after the fact. Whereas Minecraft, we're small enough, we go inside things. Yeah. Human behavior under stress. Precisely. Yeah, exactly. That notion really, as a concept, really appeals. Okay, where is... I'll show brackets. Put on this side. Okay, good. I have to second guess myself to see if I'm putting it on the right studs. If I do get a chance to watch it, I will certainly let you know. That's actually probably the mystery element, as odd as it is probably something that I find appealing about archaeology shows. Not just the dig bit, but that sometimes something very, very small can actually tell you an awful lot about something, I should say, very large or larger. There we go. I'm starting to see some shape. So sometimes I kind of go, you know, the conclusion you guys are coming to is, while probably accurate, seems a little far-fetched. And then they end up finding more pieces that make sense into that story. Sort of the if A then B kind of thing. But sometimes things are a little too neat, and it's funny because with fiction, I've grown to be a bit jaded in that respect. But then when you see a dig where they, it just seems a little too neat, and you kind of go, but then reality, assuming, and we're going to go with assuming here, but reality would say that, assuming that they haven't pre-dug everything and put it all back together and then dug it up again for the show, which breaking sod is probably one of those things you just can't really do that way. Assuming they haven't done that, then it is kind of neat to watch the mystery of what's underneath unfold. So possibly that's why I like those. I'm not entirely sure. Fantastic Show Fox gave me the choice. Did I want to watch an archaeology show that like a longer episode, or did I want to watch one of our DVDs of, say, Agatha Christie's Miss Marple? It was a really tough call, because I really like both, but you can't watch both. There isn't time. That's fine. No problem. If need be, feel free to tell her we'll be over in about 15 minutes or so. That's the intent. Whether I'm on time or late, I do like to try and stay somewhat on the clock to be faithful to the other people. Oh, never mind. I was trying to figure out, how do these go on? And then, once again, it's a single stud for me. So yeah, I had thought about doing something super duper fancy and special for my birthday. I never seem to come up with anything that actually makes any sense to do as a over the top type of stream. And I can never do it on my birthday because it's for you Americans, or I don't know what they call it in the UK, but for the Americans, it's on Veterans Day. So as you can imagine, having personal beliefs, but also extended family involved in the armed forces, I would have a personal guilt issue if I did not take part in ceremonies that day. Now, I know they don't go all day, so theoretically I could reschedule and do it later in the day, but also, hey, it's my birthday. You get one of those moments where you sort of do a bit of, you do what you want. And when you do what you want, sometimes you come back from these ceremonies and it's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. We're just gonna mess around. We're gonna play Endless Ocean. Which, I think I know why they call it Endless Ocean. It's a bit of a grindy game. I really enjoy it. I would play it for hours, but it's a bit of a grindy game. So maybe there's Endless. So I thought about streaming that, and I really didn't think it would be something that you guys would enjoy, but hey, if I'm wrong, please do let me know in Discord or other methods, so that I can get that vibe or that feedback. But right now, it's not an action-oriented game. To go from story piece to story piece, there's an awful lot of please swim around the ocean, discover the floor, and scan the creatures. which, while that's interesting and I enjoy it, I'm not sure it makes for riveting content. And even when there's other people in the room, I tend to stay fairly quiet while doing that, so that would be even bigger drawback for streaming it. Maybe if I want to do an ASMR stream, maybe. Hey Jay, how goes? Hopefully you had a good day. It is nearly 7 your time, I would guess. Hopefully you had a good, I don't know what you want to call it, tea, I suppose, maybe? Teas? Dinner? Supper? I never remember, because some people subscribe to that terminology and some don't. Sort of, I guess modern work world makes the whole stopping for tea thing not as viable as it used to be. Yes, I did not end up recording for Jay's sake. I did not end up actually dyeing my hair or my skin for Halloween. Frankly put, I actually dropped the ball and ended up going in a leopard onesie over my clothes. So, yeah. Which turned out to be a good thing because, as you guys are well aware, I've got some unreasonably high standards for what my costuming would be. And we've got a couple of new leaders this year who it turns out are into Harry Potter. While that's great, one of them, a couple of them actually, are so high, I don't know what the word is. High detail? High quality detail? That, yeah, they just completely blew it out of the water, and it's like, oh, well, I'm kind of glad I didn't do something around them. I would have felt embarrassed. So I phoned it in, and I don't feel bad about having phoned it in because my daughter needed help with her hair to get it all ponytailed and stuff for our Halloween party that we had. She needed help with that, so it took me long enough to do that I didn't have any time left really to put together a proper costume. Like, even if I'd had one sorted out to actually get it put on would have taken time, so I just threw on whatever was there. And honestly, I'm the leadership, I'm not the kids participating, so that was great. And I mean, you guys, some of you may have seen the pictures of how that turned out in my favor, because then I had no costume to get ruined when I got tied. So yeah, it worked out. Nearly 6. Oh, okay. So for some reason I thought, oh, right. So my conversions on the various different spring forward fallback changes are a little bit out of date or out of whack. So for those that do change, we change at different times. There are different. So I used to think when I was growing up that, you know, the UK and North America changed at the same time. I was quite surprised to find out, like, the same part of the year, and I was quite surprised to find out that that's not necessarily the case. So yeah, there's a bit of the year where we don't match up, and I can never remember whether Europe or Britain and Europe go first, or whether the North Americans go first. And it could even be different on opposite ends of the year. I'm not entirely sure about that either. So yeah, my guess is wrong. It's okay. I didn't roll the mouse over pop-up clock. Gotcha. Nearly 6. It should be. Never mind. My brain is like, oh yeah, convert to 24-hour time and you'll know right off the bat. And I did. Instantly. Missed one. Get a support stud in here. Because without that...
Fantastic Sherlock Fox says, 5 minutes, Delen.
Yes. Thank you. I cannot get that guy to... Oswin. Sometimes the ding happens, it goes all the way through, and other times the ding is after. And I just can't win with this guy. That's okay. We'll get it right eventually. One, two, three. This one. I can go. It does go there. Doesn't seem right. On this one. There we go. It's better. What are we... Celebrating, okay. That's a good song. I don't know what we're celebrating, but that's a good song. Guess I'm celebrating being older, maybe? That whole, you're older than you've ever been and now you're even older? There you go. That really doesn't make people feel good some days. I don't really care, but yeah, it doesn't work for some people. I got pins here, and squash it. Oh, up there, stay. I'm little, like, I want to put the parts on firmly. That's my thing. I razz other people about not putting them on firmly, but then sometimes I'm not sure how solid the underneath section is. Okay, I'm going to squish quite heavily. So we're going to flip to the other side. Oh, no, not quite yet. There's more to do here. Okay? No, guess not. But there we are. So I need a 3 flat, 2. Whoever put this list together really likes this Gustav guy. Then short one or long one? Short. Up against here. Come on. Go, please. Connect. Connect 4 game. Let's go. Right. Oh, we're doing the other side. Okay. Set that up there. This one? I shouldn't have to hold things every time, and I don't know why I do it that way. Maybe it's because I have fidgeter when I talk. I don't know. I took fidgets with me to the escape room and had one in my pocket, but I didn't end up actually using it, which is good. We partly didn't have time, which worked out well in that sense, but also that I don't think it would have gone over very well just with the other people in the room, because it can look like a person's not paying attention. Go. So my kids have the day off. I'm not going to start a huge story because we need to read out in a moment here. My kids have the day off today and tomorrow. I don't know why. They're calling it fall break, but my thought is twofold. Like, this is the first time that we've had fall break. I don't think I've ever seen fall break before in our school system. So they've got the day off today, and I don't see the point, to be honest with you. It's tomorrow is off as well. Excuse me. So don't know what we're going to be doing tomorrow. My son's got birthday parties and stuff to go to today. Who knows? And then they start again on Thursday for a full day. And then Friday is a half day. Now, last week, they had the school Remembrance Day ceremony on the Thursday, and then they had the Friday off. So, all that said and done, why? Quite literally, why? Give parents, a full week off. Or, because the kids are going to be squirrely as all get out, poor teachers, on Thursday, and so unfocused. I mean, there's a chance that there's some whose parents may think this is kind of dumb and not even make them show up for those 2 days. Okay, so we've gotten to a section difference, and they're going to want 1, 2, But yeah, we are getting to other things, so I'm going to leave it here. As my power just blipped in the room. Interesting. And we're going to raid ourselves out. So I'm getting notices saying that things are going sideways, so if the raid fails, we'll get some assistance with that. But we're going to get the raid started. I want to say thank you to everybody who hung out so far. As I said before, if you have not done so already, do check out the stream weekend coming up. As soon as there is reasonable art for said stream weekend, we shall do so. Let's just give it up. The ship is partly done. We'll bring the carriage back on scene. I'll tip it over sideways so you guys can see. So we got that far. Yes, I know it's blurry. Autofocus. Yoink. And this one. Okay. And then we have the little cup. I'm just gonna pull these out. And the lid. There goes the lid. Other cup. Barty Crouch. And Fleur Delacour. That's where we started today. As Fox points out, thank you to everybody for coming by. We are going to start our raid over to Wolfen. I'm not exactly sure what she's up to today, but it's always a good time, so do please hang out over there. I shall see you on that side. There we go. Can we get Mischief managed?
Mischief managed.
Indeed we can. So, thank you everybody for coming by. Thank you to Fantastic Sherlock Fox and Mama Bear for being our moderators today. And we had some great conversation from both of them, as well as Bobreen and Jay and Minx Nevada. There we go. And we're off to see Wolfen. So, have yourself a wonderful time. We shall see you tomorrow. Until then, in Minecraft, bye-bye for now.
Transfer complete.